We're talking about Morgan Stanley released a 1-year outlook. What does the next 1 year look like? Now, we've talked about this. There's a wide range of possibilities, right? Who the fook knows? But it's still worth it with that understanding, it's still worth it to take a look at, okay, well, what's a possibility of what a 1 year could look like? Now, we're not banking on this, but we're allowed to have these discussions with the caveat that who the fook knows. So I'm going to put this actually up on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. So this should transition. You should see this little graph I'm talking about right here. Okay, so you can see this graph. So this is Morgan Stanley, and I'll link to this in the bottom as well. So here's some quotes from them releasing this data. Now, they didn't release it on their website or something. This is from a reporter that somehow got a hold of it. But here's what he says. Excuse me. Well, here's what the report says, rather. While we understand the desire for optimism, we also caution that the U.S. outbreak is far from over. And this is what Dr. Chris Nash said as we had him on the show earlier. Recovering from this acute period in the outbreak is just the beginning and not the end. We believe the path to reopen the economy is going to be long. Investors cannot afford to lose sight of the fact that only a vaccine will provide a true solution to this pandemic. Okay, let's walk through this graph here. So you see the daily new cases, that solid blue line, and we got some audio only listeners too, so I'm not going to refer too much to the actual picture, but I'm going to walk through it. So they think peak new cases will be daily new cases total in the U.S. By around between like the start of May is basically what it looks like. A little bit before the start of May is the peak new cases. They think antiviral trial results will be here in April. They think testing capacity will be at 500,000 a day at the end of April. Last time I checked, it was at about 150,000. It's probably a little higher now. I checked about 4 or 5 days ago, so it's probably a little higher now. But they think 500,000 a day. Testing capacity at 1 million a day by the end of May. So we're in mid-April now. They're saying by the end of May, they're thinking 1 million tests a day. And then there's also serology testing widely available in June. Serology test is a test for antibodies. Why is this important? We can test if you've already had it, because here's the thing about COVID tests. If you don't currently have the virus, the test is going to be negative. It's possible you had it before, right? So that's why you have serology test. I can't even pronounce it. I'm telling everyone about it. Well, listen, I looked it up. This is the reality. Listen, I'm going to try to give it to you straight as best I can and be open about what I'm ignorant of. But here's the deal. They think available in June, they'll have antibody testing. And this is important, but we don't know for sure whether you can get this again. We don't know for sure whether how quickly it's going to, how quickly it's going to mutate. These are all very important questions that we don't have answers to right now. Okay, they also said public health departments will be fully staffed mid-summer, which I thought was pretty funny. Should they not be fully staffed now? But, they obviously need to handle peak demand and they need to ramp up. But it's just an interesting little thing. Okay, potential vaccine for health workers. Oh, by the way, public health departments fully staffed by August 2020. Potential vaccine for healthcare workers in October 2020. Potential vaccine broadly available in March 2021. Okay, that's almost a year from now. They think a vaccine will be broadly available. That's almost a year from now. That's a hell of a long way away. I think it's an interesting take on it. We'll see what fucking happens here. Okay.